Now, the next question is, what are the categories of information? There are three categories of information. One is primary, the second one is secondary, and the third one is tertiary. Primary work consists of original work and research. Possible sources that you'll find primary work exist in journal articles and books. An example of primary literature would be a book written by Jean Watson entitled Nursing, Human Science and Human Care, A Theory of Nursing. Jean Watson has written this original work. The second category is secondary. Secondary information consists of work on a single topic, basically reviews of other works. Again, the possible sources where you find secondary information include journal articles and books. An example from secondary literature would be a book called Nursing Theorists and Their Work, and this presents a review of many nursing theorists' work or writings. The third category is tertiary. Now, this consists of a summary of existing information. Possible sources of tertiary work include reference books, encyclopedias, handbooks, and dictionaries. An example of tertiary information would include the book Oxford Handbook of Clinical Skills of Adult Nursing. Now that we have those three categories of information, we look back at that process of ideas and how information is generated. What I'm going to show you now is where you find primary, secondary, and tertiary information in this process. So we find primary information in written papers, conference proceedings, peer-reviewed journals, and nursing literature. We find secondary information back in nursing literature, peer-reviewed journals, conference proceedings, and written papers. And we primarily find tertiary information in nursing literature. So, what are the steps in research? The research steps include selecting keywords relevant to the topic in your assignment. Essentially, keywords are words that reflect the topic of your assignment. Another step in the research process is to select relevant databases and websites. The third step is, once you have placed the keywords into the relevant databases or websites, please examine the results. If these results are not appropriate to what you need, they aren't relevant, then revise keywords if necessary. Try other words that describe your topic. Try discipline-specific words. The next step in the research process would be to apply Boolean operators and limiters. Boolean operators are words like and or that are used between keywords to help you combine them in specific ways to make your search results more precise. Limiters are ways that you can make your results more specific. For example, you have to use peer-reviewed articles, or you need to use literature that is only 5 years old, or perhaps you need to use literature that is based on gender. The next step is to examine the results. So after you revise keywords, perhaps you revise the database, and you use Boolean operators and limiters, then examine the results again. Are these relevant? Are these appropriate to my need? Very often research is a matter of revision. It is a process. Now, here are some helpful hints for you. If I take an example like, what is the nurse's role in preventing hospital-acquired infection? Let's say that's my assignment topic. I would look at those keywords within the assignment, or look for those keywords in a textbook or PowerPoint slide. It's all about generating the keywords because those are the things that you place in the academic databases. The next tip I have for you is to make sure you select relevant databases such as CINAHL or Nursing and Allied Health Source, or if you need websites where you find information that's health specific such as Health Canada. Very often your success is determined by the database that you use. After you place the keywords into the relevant databases, examine those results. Ask yourself this question: are these results relevant to my topic? If the results aren't relevant to your topic, then consider trying again. For example, revise the key words. Try a different database. Perhaps CINAHL isn't the right one. You might like to use the database Academic Search Premier. Try discipline-specific vocabulary. So for example, if we go back to our example of what is the nurse's role in preventing hospital-acquired infection, perhaps hospital-acquired infection isn't the terminology that the database uses. Perhaps it uses the discipline-specific terminology, nosocomial infection. So you might then try that wording as well. Also, if you've tried different databases and you've tried related terminology, again, I go back to my infection control example. Maybe instead of hospital-acquired infection, maybe it's a hospital-associated infection, and that is a related keyword for you to use. So if after you've tried all that and you're still not having any success, please speak with the librarian. Now, perhaps again we go back to using or applying Boolean operators and limiters. Again, those are words like and or that we use between the keywords to make our results more specific. So in this example, you might like to say nursing practice or the nurse's role and nosocomial infections, and only results that have both topics in it will be returned to you. Then, going back to this example, you might like to have literature that is peer-reviewed or that has been published within the last 5 to 8 years as an example. After you apply Boolean operators and limiters, please examine your results again. Ask yourself the question, do these results fit the need of my assignment? If they don't, please consider revising again, but if they do, that's great. Here's another tip for you. Ensure you save your search strategy. You can print out your search strategy. You can write down the keywords that you used. As well, make sure that you save your article. Print it out, save it to a folder, however you can, because it's easy to lose an article, or it's easy to forget what strategy retrieved the necessary information.